And I turned around to thank all 6 or 8 cops, and I swear to God, they repelled up into the sky. They disappeared. They were gone. They didn't want to have nothing to do with her if she flipped out again. Like, they did what they could to help me.
Yeah.
But they wanted to go back to their chess game, their beer, their nap. And I turned around, and they were all gone, and I turned back at her, and she said, "I'll have your gun and your paycheck, mother fudger." And just like a Clint Eastwood movie, she broke a bottle on a garbage pail and had the, yeah. And I was like, okay, now it's real. And she started to step towards me and started to run towards me. And I said, I could shoot her right now. I have time to get my gun out, put 2 in her chest, and I'll live. However, I might be tossing someone salad in the big house for the next 15 years if they want to make me an example. That all went through my head in 1/2 of 1 millisecond. So you know what I did?
And we're back. Hey, everybody. It's your host, Darren Carter, the party starter on the Pocket Party Podcast. And we've got John DiResta. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. John DiResta, former NYPD transit officer. Had his own sitcom, was a star of many, many movies, and is a very popular guest on the Pocket Party Podcast. He's tatted up. He loves rock and roll. He loves heavy metal. He loves working with furniture. And how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. That's a great intro. Thank you, bro. And congratulations on the green background. Where are you? A hostage in Armenia?
You know, I should have warned you. Right now, it looks like a green screen, but by the time this thing airs and I post it on YouTube, I'm going to put a whole new backdrop.
You are?
Yeah, and it's and guess what? I'm so boring. You know what backdrop I'm going to use? I'm going to use a wood paneling backdrop. So when everyone sees this, I actually look like I'm in front of a wood paneling wall, a wood panel.
Well, in Long Island, everyone had a basement, and everyone's basement was refinished in wood paneling in the 70s. Everybody. So that old weird paneling, either A, it's a nice mental anchor, or B, it's the same paneling in the early porno movies we watched in my mother's basement. 15 of us.
Yeah. How many?
15 guys all watched it, and every single one of them was like, it's what you might call an uncomfortable position to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? It's I go with the wood paneling because it's plain. You know I could put like the Golden Gate Bridge behind me, or the Los Angeles skyline, or the beach, or what. I could put anything. I could be in outer space. But I'm like, let me just put a brown wall right behind me, you know? It just kind of has that, because otherwise if I were just to use my regular wall, it's just a normal wall, you know?
Yeah. It's a weird world we live in when these backgrounds have become, a topic of conversation. And I did a stand-up comedy on Zoom, and I thought it was a very easy trick. Instead of doing crowd work, I kind of commented on, because we're all seeing the same thing. So it was like, Hey, what's with the creepy red balloon in the corner? You know what I mean? It was very easy. Yeah. All you had to do was comment on it. It was there, and we all saw it. You know what I mean?
So when I air this, I'm gonna, for people listening, you go to YouTube and check out the Darren Carter YouTube channel. But I will describe what's over your left shoulder. Looks like it's Audrey Hepburn, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that was a gift for my wife for Christmas about 5 years ago. Just to look good. I'm not a huge fan. My brother Jimmy's old girlfriend was obsessed with her, so I always, thought that was catchy, that somebody believed in her that much, so I bought it for my wife. However, this guy
on your right shoulder, I'm thinking I can't really tell. It looks like it could be E.T. with like a red wig on or something.
No, it's like a scary pirate with like a hood on, and then it looks like he's almost has a boxing glove on, or he's injured his hand and it's wrapped.
Oh, yeah.
I found it leaning against a telephone pole 10 years ago in Valley Village, California on Martha Street.
Wow.
And I always thought it was like some kind of weird lucky charm. And I looked in my living room all around today and it was gone. And here I am in my studio. I found it over there.
Studio. Yeah.
Yeah, I found it over there behind my there's 17 episodes of my sitcom right over there under the hockey sticks.
Dude,
and they're on beta.
Oh my gosh, dude! That's one thing about the lockdown. You start going through old, boxes and looking at old. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Maybe turn the volume down.
Stand by.
You know when people call into the radio station and they're like, "Caller, turned off your radio." It's like that.
Yeah.
And
You want me to turn the computer off?
No, please don't. But now I've showed this on other episodes, but you know what? I got to get John DiResta's opinion. Are you ready to see some of my earlier headshots? I would love.
Oh, jeez.
Please roast me. Now I've shown this on a few other episodes, but I got to get John DiResta. Now this is an early shot. This is from about 25, maybe 30 years ago. I've got a full head of hair. It's my very first official headshot, and here it is.
Whoa. That's some nice hair, bro. That's solid as a rock.
That guy doesn't look like he's going bald.
That guy not only does not, he looks like he might be on the side of a milk carton. Have you seen me lately? The last time you were seen was at a minor league baseball game. You never made it to your car.
I used to never think I was going to go bald, man. With that hairstyle, I used to use hairspray and mousse and sometimes hair gel.
It's wildly thick.
Yeah, it was wildly thick. Yeah, man. And then I remember one time I was tying my shoe. I might have been around 23 years old. And I remember these girls, like, she poked her finger in the back of my crown of my hair, my head. She goes, "Are you going bald?" And I was like, "No." Because
you didn't know there was anything missing up there.
No, I had no idea because from
and you checked immediately. Did you check immediately?
Yeah, later that night, I got another mirror and I looked and I was like, and I remember like looking in the mirror and I saw the image from behind and I was like, oh my gosh, like it definitely like you could tell like a little scalp was coming through. That was
unlike this.
That's right, folks. This podcast is going to be a short one. Dude, that's great. Your hair is super thick up there. But yeah, that was one of my earlier headshots. And then,
hey, there's a comedian. I won't mention his name.
Yeah,
but he's pretty high up there. He was having a good career, fun, nothing wrong. And he said one of the worst gigs he ever did, I read it on Facebook, was at a corporate show in Vegas. And I've done those where you're like in the middle of the grandstand, but there's 7,500 people just walking from booth to booth. Nobody's looking. No one stops. And I've done it. And I was told that's where all the good, like I was going to get all these good gigs out of this thing. And I didn't get one. When he did a similar thing like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, he was just not getting a single laugh. He couldn't deal with it. The only person smiling and laughing was the guy that hired him. And he was on a Jumbotron.
Wow.
And he said, let me at least look up at the Jumbotron. And it had two angles, one from the front. And he didn't know it. Just as he looked up to see what he looked like, it was from the back. And he discovered a bald spot for the first time.
Wow.
Thank you.
In front of all of those people.
Yep.
Wow.
Much like you with the girl's finger.
Yeah. What's that? Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it hurts.
Oh, dude, sometimes you'd walk in. I remember walking in like a convenience store. You walk in, I'm the man. Bing! And then there's that image from behind. You're like,
oh, I see. I never thought of that.
Oh, yeah, dude. There's a lot of surprises. And then.
Well, when I was in the police academy with a guy named Haynes, whenever he dropped something, he would slowly bend down with his face straight up. It was really funny. He had this like, don't look at my bald dome. Even though you could see it all day long in class,
yeah,
he didn't want to specifically show it to someone if he dropped something.
Oh, dude, for sure. I remember I used to want to like, I'd see those guys that would put they'd back up against a wall.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like at the nightclubs and stuff, they'd go.
I never thought of that.
They didn't want the ladies to see that they're butt. But you see it from every angle. It's just that person doesn't want to, see it. Now check out this headshot. Look at this one. Not only am I squatting on a stool, the stool is backwards. I'm sitting backwards on a chair, squatting.
Yeah, there goes the hair loss is kicking in too.
Yeah, exactly.
When you got those back, did you look there?
No, you know what? I actually thought that was a good photo, and I was like, hey, look, I'll get another one and pass it out to the fans.
Yeah, that's what they want after a show. They just want a photo.
Yeah, they want photos of a guy squatting on a chair.
I had the same smaller one made into refrigerator magnets.
Yeah?
And it was the same day I got this tattoo. It's funny how you remember it. See that? That's the Coney Island logo.
Oh, cool.
And it says your mom. Nice. The same day I got this tattoo in New York City, I did a set in Westchester, and I couldn't wait to give out my refrigerator magnets. I brought them from L.A., and the first guy I held it up to said, hey, man, really good show. And I said, would you like a refrigerator magnet? And he never lifted his hands. He said, if you give it to me, I'm going to throw it out.
Wow.
But, it's up to you if you want to give it to me.
Oh, I got something. Check this out. Here's another thing I found during quarantine. I got a wallet. I'm like, oh, cool, wallet. What's in there? And I'm thinking maybe some money. I don't know what's in there. Look, boom. These were some stickers I used to pass out. And
if there was a condom in there, it would be worth $1,000.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like a baseball card.
Oh, that'd be cool. It's no, it's just and that was when I first got a website, and I was all excited. I'm like, I got this sticker, and I'll promote my website, and people will go on there, and Yeah,
dude. It's amazing how few people could care less that you have a website.
Yeah, people don't go to websites, really, do they? I mean, guys, listen, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment and say, hey, I go to websites, I don't go to websites. Just let us know, because I still have a website, and I still use it, but I don't – it's the last thing on my mind to update. I'm usually updating YouTube, podcasts, Instagram, Facebook fan page, everything else,
It's funny how you see people that when they get a website, they think they've now they're a professional because they spent $2.99 on a name and a site.
I know. Although I got to say it, I have a friend. He got one of those Wix, I think, websites, and he's doing a lot too. He says it's pretty easy to manage, and he's added all kinds of cool things to it. And it's great. He showed me some of the cool things on it, and I was like, damn, how'd you do that? And he's like, it's not that hard. So after this thing is over with, I may look into pumping up the website and adding some little add-ons that are.
All right, here's my first headshot.
Yeah, what do you got?
I don't know if you know this. I've written every set down I've ever done, about 6,050 sets. So this whole room is just stacks and stacks and stacks. There's about 158 notebooks with numbers in them and sets, and another 50 notebooks that I started on this or started on that. So I just grabbed this out as I came to sit down. I just said, let me grab any notebook. So this is notebook number
78.
And on the cover, it'll say the bigger things that happened if I shot a TV show.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So when I grab it, and this is from August 6, 2007. To a couple of months later. Oh, this is a long one. This
By
might
the
be
way, I saw you were doodling on there. It looked like you're kind of an artist.
Dude, all I do is draw. When I'm in a hotel after a set, I kind of juice up the number. It gives me, look at this is set number. Again, this was in a hotel. The pages are stuck together, much like my gay porno magazines. So,
wow.
There's 2,575, and I'll read the details real quick. It was in Las Vegas at the Tropicana with JJ Jimmy Walker.
Nice.
and I put down, it's okay to have to work, which means I probably didn't have the greatest set, and I'm so spoiled that I have to remind myself, hey, if I got to work, no big deal. As you know, we only have to work 1 out of 15 sets, if that.
Yep.
But this was a photo on the back. This could be considered my first headshot. I never have, though.
Hold it right up to that lens. Wow.
That's me.
Wow.
As a New York City transit cop at the age of 21 with 2 bums in the subway. Bums were my only friends.
Wow. You look a lot older than 21 in that photo, only because
look at that mustache.
Yeah, man.
That's a flavor saver, bro.
You look older because of the way you're dressed and the mustache. Like
that photo looks like it's from 1905.
Yeah, and if somebody said that guy in that photo was 45 years old, I'd believe it. What to be a cop, did you have a mustache before you were a cop?
No, that's funny. I don't think I did. I saw a photo the other day where I was not a cop and I had a mustache. I don't remember that. But in New York, you pushed your hair back like this, you grew a mustache, and everybody was neither named Mike or Tony or Vinny, and every female cop was Mary or Eileen. And I got on in 86, July 15th, 86.
Wait, I'm sorry.
I was 21 years old.
So you grew the mustache before after you were...
No, I'm saying I got invested in my mustache after. Invested.
Yeah. You were like...
I did this.
Wow.
And then over the last 5 or 6 years, I'm down to brushing it out. I want to look like a swashbuckler. You know how a swashbuckler is not a dirty, raggedy pirate from, like from Bakersfield?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's more like the most handsome bum in Huntington Beach. That's what I want to be.
Yeah,
I want to be the most handsome bum anyone's ever met.
Yeah. You were a cop
for the light leaning off my hair.
Yeah, that looks cool, man. Do you use any do you use a hair grease on that?
Olive oil.
Olive oil?
No, I'm only joking. Yeah, it's like a mousse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my dad used to use VO5 hair grease in the 70s, and one time I grabbed a tube of it thinking it was toothpaste, and it was disgusting.
Oh no, that's a bad scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Little backlight, like it's a movie.
So let me ask you about being a cop. So when you first started, you worked in the transit, and for people who've listened to the podcast, I think you may have mentioned this on one of the earlier episodes, but for our new viewers, tell us what it was like to work on the subway system, your very first year. What was that like?
The first time I was ever in a subway in New York was in a police uniform. I grew up in Long Island, and you never really took the subway. Twice a year you took the train in for maybe a Ranger game, heavy metal concert, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Van Halen. I saw it at Madison Square Garden. Wrestling, Hulkamania. Who's at the first Hulkamania ever?
Nice.
Thank you. But you're only on the train once or twice a year. So you never took the subway. I don't know if you know this. The train ends from Long Island under Madison Square Garden. You can go from the train up 2-3 stairways and be in Madison Square Garden and never have to exit to the street. How's that for convenience?
Wow. When you say the train, is that the same thing as the subway?
Not at all. Bite your tongue.
Wow.
That's why I'm setting up the story. It's the Long Island Railroad.
Oh.
You know what I mean? If the New York City subway had a smart, funny, clean brother, it would be the Long Island Railroad.
Oh, Long Island Railroad.
No, it's way nicer, dude.
And it's like above the ground. The subway.
No, it was above, and when it got into New York, it went below, right?
Yeah, the train did.
Yeah, so my first time ever on the subway was as a uniformed cop, and I got to tell you, I was scared. You work alone, you go into the next station. If something goes down, or not even, you have to ride the train from end to end. You start at Coney Island, you go to the Bronx and come back. That's your whole night. And if you get in a tussle with somebody, you don't even know what the next station is. Why would you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could even memorize them if you wanted to. You're going, literally, Coney Island is here. and you're going all the way to Yankee Stadium is up and off it's sometimes 65 stops.
Wow.
You know what I mean? You almost have to, after each train, when it stops and lets the people on and off, you almost have to check the map to see what the next stop is in case the S hits the fan.
Wow. And when you'd go under there, would your radio work?
It's funny you ask.
Yeah.
Not really. It's like a cell phone today. When it doesn't work, we go crazy because our cell phones work everywhere.
Yeah.
But down there, about 30% of the time, your radio didn't work at all. So
Wow.
God forbid you got in a thing. And some stations were 100 feet below ground.
Oh my
Let me repeat that. 100 feet below solid rock.
Wow.
You took an elevator. Imagine what that smelled like and looked like, a New York City subway elevator.
Ooh.
And you just prayed to God you didn't get stuck like on a hot summer night and the doors didn't open. Because watch this. You're going 10 stories without stopping. You can't stop. There's no middle ground.
Wow.
You did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
So I didn't know the radios didn't work. And my first night ever in Coney Island, I was all alone. And I heard somebody scream, "Officer!" This is the winter of 1987, right when that photo was taken. And when I heard them scream, "Officer," you know what went through my mind? Oh, my God. I think they're talking to me. That's a true story. It was a guy having an epileptic fit.
Oh, no.
Big crowd around him. You ever see it brings everybody. He's flopping.
Yeah.
And since I went to the New York City Police Academy, that meant I had absolutely no idea what to do at all. For 6 months, you know what they teach you?
What?
Don't shoot the dog. If a dog gets hit by a car on the street, in the old days, you put a bullet in its head to put him out of his misery. From now on, you don't shoot the dog. That was 6 months.
Wow. So when this guy's going, "Officer," you're like,
I went over the air. I said, "Central, be advised. I got a guy having a grand mal seizure." And she came back, "10-4, you got a grandma that thinks she's Julius Caesar."
Yeah.
I said, "No, it's an epileptic." And she went, "All right, now it's an epidemic. How many grandmas you got down there at Coney Island?" And I had to leave the guy and walk to everyone screamed, "Where are you going?" And I had to go to a payphone and dial 911. And by the time I came back and cut through the crowd, the guy was up, brushed himself off, and started to head to work like nothing happened. Have you ever seen that happen with an epileptic?
No, never.
And I was like, "Excuse me, sir?" He's like, "Yeah, what?" Forget
Wow.
it. Forget it.
Wow.
And it was about that same time I saw a homeless guy who must have never worn shoes like in the last 5 years. And his feet looked like leather all the way around, but the bottom you could tell was like a thick leather with like a hard edge.
Yeah.
And each toenail was this long.
Oh my gosh.
And completely flat at the bottom from the concrete. He was like a velociraptor. And a bum. He was a bummer paraptor. But yeah, I did 12 years in the subway. Our motto was "You ride, we hide." I didn't like being a cop. I had 9 arrests in 12 years. Let me repeat that. I had 9 arrests in 12 years. My gun, towards the end, was so rusted shut, I would have to throw it at a perpetrator and try and catch him in the ankle.
Did you ever shoot your gun? Or did you
That's
ever
a good question. What's that?
Did you ever get close to shooting your gun, or did you?
I got close to shooting it definitely one time, for sure. I was a rookie cop in that same year, 87, probably winter of 87, and you had to ride the train, the number 1 train, from South Ferry, which is down by Ground Zero, all the way up to the end of Manhattan. Manhattan has a tip and an end, and you go over a little bridge into Van Cortlandt Park. Do you know what Van Cortlandt Park's famous for?
No.
The opening scene of The Warriors. When Cyrus got shot. Do you remember it?
Warriors, come out.
Yeah, but you remember the opening is when all the gangs together and Cyrus got shot.
Yeah.
right across from that park on a Friday night in Inwood section of Manhattan, which is 100 feet from the Bronx. It's a very last stop up in Manhattan. And it's a college town. I think Giuliani went to college there. I think it's called Manhattan College. So, and I did a gig up there a couple of years after this had happened. I did a gig in a Irish bar with Jammin' Jim, the heavy metal guy, Jim Florentine.
Cool.
And the stage was 4 6-packs of Tall Boy Budweisers. That was the stage. A case of beer. And it was glass where if one broke, it would stick right through the bottom of your foot.
Oh, my gosh.
So I get off the train. My lunch is like at midnight. And it's all college kids, drunk, high, hooting and howling. And I'm the cop. Believe it or not, when you walk in a cop uniform, there goes the fun. Even though I'm transit, they don't know. You know what I mean? Go in the diner. Before I could even sit down, there's like a white homeless guy, like in his 30s. Like, he just looked like a freshly homeless guy. Like, I put my 2 and 2 together. And then he started saying, oh, you transit. What are you going to do, transit? What do you live out in East Cupcake? Like, these are all terminology to make fun of the Long Island guys in the police academy.
Yeah.
What are you going to? I said, look, guy, the owner asked me to kick him out. I said, dude, you've been sitting at this counter for X amount of hours. You got to go. And I don't want to get involved, but this guy gives you free food in the diner. So now you got to, food is on the arm. Okay?
Yeah.
For my New Yorkers, 2 hamburgers, soup, Diet Coke, on the arm. No tip. So I said, dude, you got to leave. And then he got loud. I'll show you. That's the terminology he started using. I'll show you, 30 seconds, a minute, yelling, everyone looking at us. I'll show you. I could pay for my meal. I'll pay for everyone's meal. I could show you. And he had a raggedy jacket on, looked just like a movie. And he reached in his pocket like this. Really sudden.
Yeah.
Pulled my gun, ducked behind like a station with all empty, dirty pots and, like where the bus boy would put it.
Say that part again. So he reached in his jacket real fast.
He reaches in his jacket. I duck down behind like a section that holds all the dirty dishes before they go back to the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I ducked down. I took out my revolver and pointed at him. And as I pointed at him, he brings up a handful of dirty singles and slams it down and says, I could pay for my meal. And I'm like this, like Barney Fife, with all the college students watching me. And that was it. I mean, that was the closest. Oh, and I had another one.
Real quick, let's wrap that story up. And by the way, when you did that and the college students, were they on your side or his side? Or did you?
Oh, it's funny. It's funny. No one's ever asked me that. And it happened 33 years ago. I would say 1,000% it was just a feel that the cop's doing is what he's got to do. There wasn't one libtard. He's just paying for his meal.
It wasn't like, get out of here, pig. You're overreacting.
No, not at all. No, dude, not at all. Not at all. I never even thought of that. That's funny that you bring that up. No, it was all just like a big, what would you call it? Mistake of what I thought and what he thought, and the way I built it up. But what I could articulate if I had to that I thought he was an ex-cop and a homeless guy, and somehow he still had his. Maybe I didn't tell you that. The way he was a white guy in his 30s.
I'm going to step away for 20 seconds. I have to turn this fan off, but keep saying that story. Keep saying what you were just saying.
Okay. Here we go. I'll tell him that I kept telling the story.
I can hear you.
But I'm going to check a text real quick.
I can hear you.
All right, hold on.
All right. So
give me 1 second.
With the terminology that he was saying, you think that maybe
right. I thought he was an ex-cop. And so being an ex-cop, I thought somehow, some way, he still owned a gun.
Yeah.
So that's what built up for me. And then about 5 or 7 years later, I was Coney Island. I was that was my station. It was a great little gig. 4 to 12. Coney Island had 4 trains that all ended at Coney Island. So that was my home station. And it just so happened our precinct, District 34, was in that station. So guess what that meant? every meal, every break I took, I went back to the precinct. I wasn't in the middle of Harlem. I wasn't in the middle of the Bronx. I was, you know what I mean? I was 15 steps from, sitting down watching TV. 4 to 12. And I got a lot of interesting calls. Hey, DiResta, 10-1. That means come back to the house and sit with these two, for the next 4 hours because I got to go. In other words, I had to watch prisoners. I had to do a lot of weird stuff. And one day, I got a call to booth G1. That's like the main token booth. And there was an African-American woman with bugged out eyes, a hair pulled back. And I said, look, they want you to leave the station. Just go to the street. You know what I mean? Like, let it be someone else's problem. And she started screaming, I'll have your gun in your paycheck. I'll be living in your house, mother fudger. See what I did there? Mother fudger.
I like that she didn't curse.
She didn't curse. She was a psycho.
Wow.
So I called for help, but not, I wasn't being injured. I just said, hey, I need help. And out of nowhere, like 6 transit cops and like 3 New York City cops all showed up with me. And we literally just pushed her out of there's like a gate. You know what I mean? We pushed her out of the gate.
Yeah.
And she was now on New York City street property with all her bags and her homeless debris. And I turned around to thank all 6 or 8 cops. And I swear to God, they repelled up into the sky. They disappeared. They were gone. They didn't want nothing to do with her if she flipped out again. Like they did what they could to help me.
Yeah.
But they wanted to go back to their chess game, their beer, their nap. And I turned around and they were all gone. And I turned back at her and she said, I'll have your gun in your paycheck, mother fudger. And just like a Clint Eastwood movie, she broke a bottle on a garbage pail and had And I was like, okay, now it's real. And she started to step towards me and started to run towards me. And I said, I could shoot her right now. I have time to get my gun out, put 2 in her chest, and I'll live. However, I might be tossing someone salad in the big house for the next 15 years if they want to make me an example. That all went through my head in 1/2 of 1 millisecond. So you know what I did?
Ran.
I turned around and I ran. And I ran through parked cars, through the amusement rides, through the games. I ran through Coney Island with her chasing me for about 3 minutes, and everybody was laughing. It was like something from Benny Hill. But I finally shook her. I lived. And seriously, had I put a bullet in her that day, that minute,
man,
the odds of me sitting here doing this podcast are slim to none. And I do have a friend that spent 10 years in prison for defending himself. Got out. They said the case was done. 2 years of freedom. And they said, nah, we thought it was appealed. It's not. They put him back in jail for 5 more.
Wow.
And he was a cop in prison.
Wow. Not good.
No, bad vibes.
Man, you didn't have pepper spray or a nightstick or something?
I had a nightstick, but she was coming at me with this thing
or what's that thing called? The shocker thing? Dude,
this is 1987. No one ever heard of a taser.
Yeah.
And my mace was empty. You want to know why?
Why?
This is real inside stuff. I got out of the academy like on a Tuesday, and on like Wednesday night, an old timer said, hey, can I see your mace? I showed it to him. He's like, he didn't have one?
Yeah.
I said, sure. I tossed it to him, and he squirted it all out on the floor. And he goes, here. Now when you get into a tussle, you had to go to your nightstick and then your gun. Your mace wasn't working.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's funky, right?
Dude.
And the mace that they gave us was literally like legally you had mace.
Yeah.
It looked like it wouldn't do anything. It was this big.
Like if someone was on drugs or they were pissed off enough, they would just be.
It seemed like it would piss them off more.
Yeah.
So usually it was nightstick and then gun.
Wow. Did you have to use the nightstick on anyone?
Never. I never did it. I mean, I had it out ready to,
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine, Jimmy Hellison. He was a cop 2 years before me. He was a New York City cop. He did 32 years on patrol in the worst neighborhood in Brooklyn. 32 years. You talk about stories. No cop does more than 5-10 years on the road. Then they go inside, weekends off.
Yeah.
He spent 32 years in the ghetto.
Why?
And
Why
when I
did
was
he like being outside?
he just loved dealing with the people, and he loved the action. And when I was in the police academy in '87, he already had 3 years on. And he said the whole police academy should be 30 seconds. They should teach you how to hit somebody right here with all your might with the nightstick.
Wow. Ugh. I'm like, ugh.
Or, dude, you know what the nicknames were? You send someone home in a turban. Send him home in a turban.
Oh,
because his head has to be gauzed up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you send him home in a turban. You part his hair with a nightstick.
Ooh.
You give him an oak shampoo.
Oak shampoo.
Oak shampoo? Yeah. Or then the nastier ones, you open his head like a tomato.
Ooh. Yeah.
Or you open his head like a melon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man.
Oak shower still gets a laugh.
Oak shower.
Or oak shampoo.
I performed at the LAPD at the what do you call it, the Academy, and I did a show once at the Academy over there by Griffith Park, and I saw that they had I want to say like a different type of baton.
Yeah, they have a PR-24. The NYPD went to them too. We had a nightstick.
Yeah,
we had a wooden nightstick.
He said they got rid of that L-shaped, that really long nightstick. And I said, why did they get rid of that? And the guy said that after Rodney King, after 92, they said they stopped carrying those because they looked offensive. And people just in public, people would see that and be like, it looks antagonizing, I guess.
That's why NYPD got rid of leather coats, and NYPD didn't get 9mm till the last police department in the world because a revolver didn't look as menacing. We don't really care about your safety, and you have a wife and 3 kids. That's it, dude. The job was never on the level. I knew from day one that I could be put in prison from day one.
Wow.
And someone's got to be the example every year or every 5 years. So I was not going to be.
I've talked.
Do you know what it's on a side note? Do you know what it says in the emblem on every LAPD car? You know, inside that little sticker.
What does it say? Like on the door, to protect and serve. To protect and serve.
Well, it used to say that. Now it says we treat everyone like a king. Rodney King. My wife and I used to go to Rodney King for wedding counsel.
You did?
Can't we all just get along? Can't we just get along?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You had a question.
Were you ever in a situation where there was a riot? Maybe you're in your police van or something, and there was.
No, I've never really been in a riot. And then there was also a school condition. I worked in Coney Island days on a day tour.
Yeah.
And if it was like Easter weekend or like a holiday weekend and the weather was 90 degrees and like a lot of these high school kids had to take the bus like 7 stops. So like 600 kids would get on at high school and all 700 of them or 600 would get off 10 stops later where like it was a bus junction or that's where they all lived. And they would go ape S on the train on a Friday when school was on a 3-day weekend or a holiday. And I never got caught in one of those ever because there were cops that had to ride that. That was their post. But guess why they would do it? I wouldn't want to get involved, but guess why they did?
Why?
Weekends off.
Oh.
Right? You ride that train every day from 3 to 5, whenever, you know what I mean? That's your specialty.
Like whenever I see some chaos on TV.
No, but hold on. Let me tell you.
Okay.
One time, I knew we turned out 10 cops one day, and all were men. And around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we heard a scream over the radio, a scream that I said, this woman's in trouble. We got to get there. And we get there, and it was an old-time tough guy who was in the military and a transit cop named Joe Sorrentino. And he got so scared when he screamed, it sounded like a woman. So it could, you know what I mean? It could happen at any minute.
Why was he scared? What happened?
He was in a school condition and they just flipped out. They were breaking the windows on the train. There was like no control. Now watch this. You're in that crowd. You're in a cop uniform with 500 kids per train car. No social distancing.
Yeah.
And now the only other time was I was in the homeless outreach unit. And we drove a van that said transit police, like a transport van, but it said transit police. Plain clothes, carry a gun, bulletproof vest, homeless outreach unit. We drive around New York City and pick up our clients.
Yeah.
We were Uber for every homeless bum in New York City. It was an interesting thing. And it was plain clothes, except for the flea collar. There's a true story. Me and Kenny Gelano, we called him Grandpa because he was losing his hair.
Hey.
No offense. And, dude, we got a call to pick up a homeless client at 125th Street in Harlem.
I've heard of that. By the Apollo.
Right by the Apollo, the night that the cops were found not guilty in the Rodney King incident 3,000 miles away.
Whoa.
And we were surrounded by so many angry people in a van. Granted, we each had a gun, but, you know, how do you justify shooting someone through a window because they're smacking the windshield or whatever? Yeah. They could have definitely grabbed our car, flipped it, and beat us to death. And thank God, like we were driving through a massive amount of people in a moving vehicle.
And who's in the moving vehicle? Just you and another cop?
Just me and Kenny Gelano. Wow. Going to pick up a client.
And so you're just slowly moving through the crowd.
Slowly moving while people are like, you know, some are like, you know, like some aren't moving. Some are trying to hold us back, but we had to, like, we knew, like, we had 13 minutes of just keep moving at 1 mile an hour and we'll be free. And we'll be out of danger.
Because so there's people rocking the van. And then
they could have done that in a second. And they could have flipped it in a second. You know, 60 guys grabbing an empty van. The only thing inside it was bologna sandwiches.
Yeah.
Bum bait. We called it bum bait.
Hey, guys, want to ride in the van? Wow.
Yeah, dude. If we were near the ocean, it was bum chum.
I kind of want a bologna sandwich now. When's the last time you had a bologna sandwich? Or do you even?
It's funny you ask.
Yeah.
It's been a while. My wife said to me yesterday, what do you want for lunch tomorrow? Come up with something different. And we were laying in bed last night. I was going to say a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Or a bologna sandwich. Now, these bologna sandwiches sometimes are a day or two old for our homeless clients. And there was no mustard, no mayo, no ketchup.
Ooh.
You bit into one of those things, it was drier than a mummy's scrotum.
Ugh.
That's pretty dry.
That's pretty dry, dude.
Touche.
Touche. Hey, have you heard from any of your buddies or during this pandemic that are still on the that are still caught?
Most of the guys that I got on with are off the job. Like most guys are off already.
Yeah.
Because you only had to do 20 and get out for a pension. And, you know, if you got on in 86, 87, you know, in 06, 07 is when I got all the emails. Hey, guy, John, it's me, Henry. I'm off the job now. Any way you can mail some of that medical marijuanas out to Long Island and put it in like a coffee bag? I see the guys. Some of the guys, you know, most of them have been pretty safe. But every now and then, there's quite a few guys have died, like 30 NYPD guys or 10 or 15. Yeah, they're all staying low.
They died from just like...
Oh, no, a lot. Some like straight up Clovis-19.
Really?
Yeah. It's in the new. I just read it in the newspaper, but yeah, they have Clovis-19.
Clovis-19. I think it's called COVID-19. Don't try to put it on Clovis.
Everything's on Clovis.
That's Fresno's better brother.
It's the coroner's virus.
Coroners, yeah. I got a little nervous because I talked to you. I remember about a month ago. You were like, man, they're going to turn Central Park into like tents and have hospitals out there. And
yeah, they were going to turn Central Park into tents and like oh, dude, look, remember I told you I have notebooks?
Yeah.
I did, and the main stuff is on the front.
Yeah.
I did a gig at the LA Police Academy where you did in that weird back catering room it's dark and shady.
Yep.
I did it with Mike Marino and Big Pussy.
Wow.
He got to the cover of notebook number 16.
That's cool. What was he doing there?
People pay just to see him. All the Sopranos guys now, they're doing autograph signings. You know about that?
No. That's cool.
They're doing like the Sopranos convention, and everyone shows up and walks from table to table.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Did you see Comedian with Robert De Niro?
Yep.
Remember his character was an old sitcom guy, and he used to go to those autograph signings. He hated every second of it.
Wow.
Say it once. Just say it once. Arlene, I'm home.
I should watch that again, man. It's been a while. You know what movie I saw? Did you? I don't know if you've seen it, but I watched yesterday that Beatles movie.
I gave it like 5 minutes and I was out.
Did you? You didn't? You only watched it for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
You didn't like it, huh?
There was something about it I didn't like.
I thought it was a cool concept. For those of you who haven't seen it, the guy, apparently nobody in the world had heard of the Beatles because there was like a power outage for like 12 seconds or 12 minutes or something. And this guy was a failing musician, and he started singing Beatles songs, and people like loved it, and they thought that he was the one writing the songs. I thought it was a pretty
yeah.
I thought it was a cool idea.
I didn't.
You know what movie I didn't like? I know we're going back in time, but I saw Adam Sandler's movie Spanglish. You ever
you know what I thought you were going to say? I never saw that at all. Don't know a word about it. I did see Uncut Gems.
Oh, now with Spanglish, there were parts that I liked. Like I liked seeing Freddie Soto in it, and I did like some of the movie, but it wasn't what I don't know, man. It went on way too long, and I was so ready to change the channel, and it's still another hour to go, and I'm like, oh. So I saw that, and then the next night I saw Yesterday. So maybe watching those back to back is why I liked Yesterday. But
what about Uncut
Gems? How did you like Uncut Gems?
I liked it a lot because I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. And
bless you.
2 guys I went to high school with are in it. Did you see it?
No. What's it about?
Oh, Adam Sandler plays a guy who's like a drug addict, a gambler.
Wow.
And just on a minute to minute to minute to minute basis gets drugged down deeper and deeper and deeper into owing everybody money.
Oh wow. Oh, so it's not really a funny movie like
not at all. Not at all. And then to pay off 2 guys to get rid of him, 2 really ugly guys with balding heads, no offense, and really scraggly hair.
Oh, yeah.
And really kind of nebbishy Jewish guys from Long Island. He gives them a fake Rolex. Here, look, I know I owe you $6,000. Take this Rolex. And throughout the whole movie, these 2 guys, they're brothers, you could tell, come up and say, this is a fake Rolex. You owe us $6,000. And Adam Sandler's character says, it's real. No, it's a fake Rolex. We want our money back. And those 2 guys I went to high school with. So it's just unusual that, to know them. Oh, the last 2 guys you would expect to see in a movie. The last 2. Like, imagine seeing your mom in a movie with, like, Keanu Reeves. Like, that's how uncanny it is.
Wow. And did you after that, did you look them up and see that they had...
I looked them up, and then Mitchell and Stewie Wenig, and only Mitchell has a Facebook, and I said, you did a great job in Uncut Gems. And he... Nothing.
Does he? I mean, had he been working as an actor? Like, has he?
No, not at all. No, all these 2 guys ever did from the time I knew them till last week is sit in their room and listen to Beatles albums.
How did they get?
And go to obscure concerts.
And how did they end up being in
my brother Jimmy said he heard on a podcast that director was friends with them.
And just because you're friends, you get to be in a movie?
Yeah, for some of us.
That's weird. Man. So you're obsessed with your hair. What a weird thing to be obsessed with. I'm not obsessed with my hair. Anyways, well, thanks for coming on the podcast, man. Anything you'd like to plug before we wrap it up?
I do make furniture. I make a rustic reclaimed, or I make it look reclaimed, newer wood. I have all my little secrets. We design as a team. I do coffee tables. I do dining tables. I do restaurant tables. I do fireplaces. I do accent walls. Do you know what an accent wall is, Darren?
No, tell me.
It's like, imagine behind me right now was planks of wood going right, left, and building all the way up, but gave it like a quasi-cowboyish look.
Oh, cool.
That's called an accent wall.
Wow.
And it could either go straight across each plank, the full length of the wall. So when you look at it, it just looks, they're all in unison. Or you could railroad it. Do you know what railroading means, Darren?
Parallel, side by side.
Nope. It's a good question. Right. That would be north-south.
Yeah.
Railroad is when you put one at 4 feet, one at 6, one at 8, one at 2.
Oh, so yeah.
It looks like it was pieced together by a woodsmith 100 years ago, like with his scraps.
That's cool. I'm
at DiResta West Coast on Facebook, at DiResta West Coast on Instagram, and I
thought of you last week, man. I'm
not gay.
No, I thought of you last week. Because as a stand-up comic, for the most part, you're just using your mind. You're writing little jokes down. You're not really using like tools and stuff, And up at the farm, I really wanted to repair this wheelbarrow, and I tried different ways. Like I tried the number one way, because the tire was flat. The laziest way you could think of is I had a can of Fix-A-Flat.
Right.
You shake it for 30 seconds, you stick it on there, and hopefully you don't have to change the tire. Well, that didn't work, and you just got like the foam everywhere. And I thought, well, what else can I do? I'm like, all right, looks like I got to change this tire. And so here's where I thought of you. I'm like, actually grabbed a tool, not much, just one little tool, and I took the wheel off, went into town, got the wheelbarrow wheel replaced, put it on the wheelbarrow, tightened everything up, and I realized that I was missing I think it's a screw, a wing nut, and a nut. No, a screw, a washer, and a washer, and a nut. There was 3 that were missing, and we looked all around for my there's a whole bunch of extra ones, and none of them worked. So we're like, let's just grab some duct tape. So we ended up just taping it together, but it actually worked. And
good for you.
I got to tell you, man, it felt really good. Like afterwards, like I could see how you guys have a sense of pride, you and your brother and your son, when you build something. You're like, wow, I did that. And then mine was so simple, just literally a wheelbarrow wheel, but it went from a piece of machinery that wasn't working and no one was going to ever use it to like, now it's usable. We can actually work with this.
Right. And it was a minimal effort.
Yeah. It felt very good.
Yeah. I've been, again, in my workshop, I've been trying to eliminate bigger projects that take a long time, and that, like, let's just say a whole wall full of like a built-in cabinet that's, 12 foot by 12 foot with doors and drawers. I've been trying to knock those all out of my life and just taking on tables, benches. Right now I'm negotiating. When you went to go get a drink of water or whatever you did, I'm negotiating on making a wooden teepee for a preschool. And I find that and I'm taking it on like as a little challenge. It's a teepee out of wood she wants 5 sides.
Yeah.
And I said, look, 5 sides is a lot of figuring. I could do a 4-sided one for cheaper. You dig what I mean?
Yeah.
A 4-sided teepee where 3 sides are wood and 1 side is like halfway down is open, and that's how you get in the teepee. And so I take on a lot of strange jobs.
What did she say when you said that? Was she open to the idea of it, or she's really hard?
Well, it was because of the money. In August, watch this. This is crazy. In August, she said, how much for this teepee, 4-sided with 1 side open? And I gave her a good deal. That was in August. Out of nowhere, right before I came on to do the big podcast, I go, bling! I looked down. Hey, John, it's Jackie. How much for this teepee? And it was way more involved. It was bigger, had a big base, 5 sides. And I said, X amount, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And she said, oh, that's more expensive than the other one. I said, well, the other one has 4 sides. This one has 5.
When I was a kid, I think for one of my birthdays, I got like some hammer, nails, and, screwdrivers, wrenches, like, go have fun. And I remember the first thing I built, and of course, it didn't work. It was terrible, but it was a very easy thing to build. Any idea? You could probably guess it. It's probably one of the top 5 of easy things to build for a kid.
A box.
Very close. A ladder.
Okay.
I literally a piece of wood, another piece of wood, and I just made the steps. And of course, you wouldn't want to step on it because I'm sure it wouldn't hold your weight because it was just a couple nails. But it was really fun to do. And I remember I took my screwdriver and I went around and I tightened up all the screws on every light switch in the house. And I was like, I'm going to work with tools. And then I discovered jokes and just that was easier. And I just went that way with it.
Yeah, it is funny how, to actually make stuff, you have to actually work or make it. And then it's funny how, as a comedian, there's no heavy lifting, but you do have to get up on stage and you do have to, if you don't get results, it's noticed very quickly.
Yeah.
By a lot of people.
It's kind of cool to have both worlds where you have more than that, but you're being a stand-up comic and an actor.
Well, watch this. I see it as we build a set. You know what I mean? We build a set, and you and I, we build a unique set as to our surroundings and the audience and the weather and what's going on in the room or in the news. So it's similar to what did I make today? I made a little tiny, just a little desk. You know what I mean? It took a couple hours, and I improvised as I went along. You know what I mean? I was like, she might want it like this. For me, it's a weird thing is you try and please a third person that's ordered it. How
do you get to the level of where you're at now, where people are contacting you? Is it because you build something and then it just has time?
Dude, I got maybe 3 or 4 meat and potatoes, Mitch and Murray's today. Would you like me to dissect that?
Yeah. What's that mean, Mitch and Murray's? I have no idea.
Mitch and Murray is an interested party. This is all salesman stuff. Did you ever see Glenn Ross?
No, but there's probably some famous quotes from that movie.
You got to see Glenn. It's all about sales. So I got 3 or 4 Mitch and Murray's.
Something about coffee, right? We don't.
Yeah, coffee's for closers.
Yeah, that's it.
Watch this. I got PayPal'd $600 today. That's how I started my day. And I looked at my wife and said, I want a jumbo cup of coffee. She said, why jumbo? I said, I just closed someone for $600. It's in our bank.
Wow.
Right? As a comedian, you and I would have to get in a car, drive to San Francisco, make $500 and no hotel. We'd have to spend $40 on a hotel. So, I got this, but I had 3 or 4 and 2 of them after this show, I'm going to try and close too. Again, as a salesman, this is very, very, I don't have to sit. Okay. So I got 5 Mitch and Murray's, and then you want to close them. You want to get them up on the boat. So when you're fishing, you got the hook in.
Yep.
And they can get off the hook at any second. When you get them up on the boat and they're flapping around is when you have closed.
They're like,
and how does it take? Watch this.
4 sides. I want the TP to have 5 sides.
Yeah. Right now she's dangling over the boat, and we're talking about the 4 or 5 sides for real. And while you went to the bathroom, she said, okay, this is true. She said, hey, instead of the 5-sided teepee, can you make a puppet theater box? This is a kid's school. And I said, yes. And you were talking about your headshots, and out of the corner of my eye, she said, how much for a puppet theater box? And I said, I couldn't answer. And then you ran and I typed real quick, give me a photo, approximate.
Yeah, you want to kind of see what they want, because maybe
what they want. Is 200, 500. But hold on, how do you get to this point?
Yeah,
this is super, 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 super not easy. It's 22 or about 19 or 20 years of pounding away in LA, giving out the business card. Now on Marketplace. Now following up, trying to work a deal.
Do they have this just like with stand-up? How you work, you grind, and then all of a sudden, Snapchat comes along and YouTube and TikTok, and then these guys just blow past everybody. Can that happen in your business, in the side business of building furniture and stuff? Can you?
Can someone blow past me?
Just like where they're just like out of nowhere, like 3 years into it, now they're the one that everyone wants, and you're like, but what about?
I think I guess maybe because like tonight I got a guy said last night a guy wanted a bed frame, and he said, I said, dude, he wanted a bed frame with drawers in it. So imagine leaning down and having to build the drawers that slide in and out of a bed frame 1 inch off the ground.
I had those when I was a kid. They're really cool, by the way.
No, I know that, but to actually, those are all made in a factory for someone making 6 cents an hour.
Yeah.
To actually have to make a queen size and then carry it into the back of someone's house, it's close to impossible.
Yeah.
Unless you put it together on site. So I said to him, hey, dude, these things are handmade from scratch. I build every last bit of it. And he said, well, I'm just comparing prices with a girl that owns a company called It's Not Trash.
Mm.
So that's the first time in a long time that someone said they were comparing me to someone else. But no, watch this. I have 7 or 8, probably 900 or 1,000 customers that at any minute say, hey, I broke up with my girlfriend. Can you make me a bed? Hey, I'm moving. Can you guys, like I've been with actors that moved here and didn't have a cent. So I made them a cheap desk for $90 that now own 3 houses because they have a regular job on a sitcom for 10 years. Wow. And I make the furniture and charge them more now. So that new person's not going to steal that person away. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're also on a different path.
Oh, by the way, I was listening to Mickey Dolenz on a podcast from the Monkees, and apparently him and his daughter build furniture. Did you know that?
No. See, now you make me sad.
Oh, well, I'll edit this part out of the podcast.
No, I'm always joking.
I'm kidding. We should look into it, though. I Googled it just to see what it was up. I don't know.
Well, so watch this. When you have me on next time, I'm going to let you know what the furniture looks like from It's Not Trash, a woman, and Mickey Dolenz.
Okay.
But you got to remember, dude, I know a lot of people that make furniture, and they learned at a trade school, and every edge is sharp, and nothing is sanded correctly. And there's no love in it. Like, it looks like it was made in wood shop. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've kind of developed my own style after all these years. And like I said, lately I've been enjoying it more because watch this. Out of the 10,000 comedians that live in L.A., a very, very, very high percentage of them don't have anything to do now that there's no comedy clubs. So I'm embracing the fact that I get to go to a workshop. I get to work alone. I don't have a boss. I listen to my conservative talk shows and my heavy metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I'm getting to the point where now I'm not just going to make furniture for anyone just because it's a money deal. In other words, if you get really good, like my brother Jimmy DiResta, you know what you do?
What do you do?
You need first a recommendation like, hey, this is a friend of mine that needs something. Are they okay? Yeah. Dude, they get interviewed. There's some furniture makers that interview someone, and they can tell right off the bat if they're going to be trouble, a problem. I had a Russian woman that needed, I want this table, exactly this table, exactly this table, look like this. And I wanted to say, why don't you just buy that one that you're showing me? Why do you need me? I want like this. Hold on. If it's not like this, I'd be very mad. And I needed the money, and I was bargaining with them, and I needed the money. And in the middle of the negotiation, the husband called me on my phone and goes, bro, don't get involved. It's going to make you very sad.
By the way, lean in like that. This is hilarious. This is my show. How come the guests always are, their face is way bigger than mine? I need to start doing my podcast like this. Seems like every episode I do, everyone is like right up in there. Like, it's because you're a professional actor. You know what you're doing.
It's this guy.
All right, buddy. Hey, it was great having you on. What's your Venmo? Give us a shout out. If you like John.
I have PayPal. Someone can sound PayPal.
All right. What is it?
It's DiResta John, DIRESTA John, JOHN @ gmail.com. And dude, I thought of that. I thought of like not even charging to do stand-up, but asking the whole audience to give a donation by giving out, the personal ID stuff at the end.
I'll tell you what, anybody that's heard him on the podcast or sees the YouTube videos, say that you saw it on the Pocket Party podcast, and John will he'll give you a deal. You guys decide what that deal will be, but give him a break in the price if it's an easier type job in the LA area.
Oh, without a doubt. If anybody comes, I got a very big job from you, from one of your shows.
That's right, from Rems. Shout out to Rems. He worked at a big company in downtown. He listens to the podcast, and he reached out and he paid you some good money, I think.
Yeah, he's my favorite Armenian. Hey, real quick on that note, I go to an Armenian fruit store in North Hollywood, and today I got special Armenian pickles to have with my chicken salad sandwich. And you know how I knew they were Armenian, other than the label?
How?
The pickles had hair on them.
Ooh.
Yep. And the hair looked like almost like a walrus's mustache. It was like thick, and it was rooted in each pickle and wet.
Hilarious. Anyways, John, you're the best. My Venmo is Darren Carter Comic. If you want to throw a little something our way. And thank you guys once again for watching the podcast and for listening. And we appreciate it, man. All right. Now, any words of wisdom as we close? Any words of wisdom?
No, you know what? Willie Nelson said, as long as you're happy right now. Right? As simple as it is, if you're happy right now. And also you have to appreciate, because I've been up and down, in and out. I've been through a lot of stuff, and, I'm still standing. You know what I mean? I'm going down swinging. So even my wife and I have been condemned. Just real quick, this whole thing it's kind of good I'm married 31 years. So now I have a legal reason to stay 6 feet away from my wife. And if we make love, she has to wear a mask. But we've been getting along great. As much as we're stuck together, somehow, some way, you have to use appreciation.
Yeah.
And almost everything's funny. Try and find the humor in everything.
Yeah. What'd you say about
keep things fun. Try and keep them fun.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What'd you say about appreciation?
No, you just got to use it. Like, you have to appreciate, even the smallest little things. Like, even this to me is the funniest thing on earth.
Big pussy.
That I did a gig with one of the Sopranos.
Hold
on. This was my camera double on my sitcom. I'm not kidding.
Bring that in closer. The big guy or the little guy? Oh, the little guy. You're the big guy, and he's the little guy.
I'm the big guy. The little guy, he looked just like me. We called him my half-brother.
He was a little person. Look at that. That's hilarious.
And his name, he's a good guy, Gary Freakin. He was on the set all the time, and it was weird. He was confused, like, with his whole sexuality for years. And he finally told his parents that he was gay, and it just took him years to come out of the cabinet. Goink!
All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, John, you're the best, man. I'll talk to you soon. Come back, okay?
Keep in touch with yourself.
I will. Peace!
We're done with this interview.
So when my son was about 10 years old, I remember he came into the kitchen and he goes, "Hey, Mom, how many pounds do you weigh?" And she goes, "You never ask a woman how many pounds." And he thought about it and he goes, "How many tons?" I said, "This kid's funny. I gotta write that down." Anyways, I'm gonna write some more jokes down. And while I'm doing that, you guys click one of these bubbles and watch another one of my videos. And thanks again for subscribing. Thank you.
Pocket Party.